solidarity on the very corner where a young woman was gunned down.
I just can relate to what this family is going through, and it's very painful, and it just reminds me of that we need to get these guns off the street.
Miracle with all the gunshot wounds on that car on both sides, and all the shooting that took place, that baby was spared and nothing. God must have a plan for that baby, coming out with all with long guns, just shooting. I mean, there were bullets, casings all over the street. It was just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it was obviously, I don't know what the origin of this was, but they were obviously after this car and the people in it. But, you know, whether they knew or not knew a baby was in the back seat, they didn't care. They were just going to shoot wildly at this car and end up killing a young mother.
A mother, a hairstylist, a life full of promise. In broad daylight on a busy Chicago street, over 50 bullets shattered everything. Her baby sat in the back seat. This is the tragic story of a single mother. On February 4, 2026, 1:25 in the afternoon, a white sedan sits on South May Street. Inside, a mother and a baby in the back seat. In the next 60 seconds, over 50 bullets will tear through that car. Only 2 will walk away. This is what happened. Her name was Gabryel Gnia Ayres, 26 years old. She worked as a hairstylist in Chicago. People who knew her said she was good at what she did. She had clients who trusted her. She had a daughter, 14 months old at the time of her death. Gabryel lived on the south side. Auburn Gresham. If you don't know Chicago, Auburn Gresham sits about 9 miles south of downtown. It's a neighborhood that's seen better days. The kind of place where people look out for each other because they have to. Where church bells ring on Sunday mornings and gunshots echo at night. On Wednesday, February 4th, Gabryel wasn't working. She was in a car. A white sedan parked on the 7900 block of South May Street. She wasn't alone. Her boyfriend, 27-year-old Devin Draper, sat beside her. And in the back seat, strapped into her car seat, was Gabryel's baby girl. It was the middle of the day. Not late at night when you expect trouble. Not in some hidden alley. This was 1:25 in the afternoon. People were out. Kids were walking home from Leo High School just down the block. St. Sabina Church sat nearby, a place known for standing against violence in the community. And that's when they came. At least 3 men. Maybe more. They didn't knock on the window. They didn't say a word. They ran up to that white sedan and they opened fire. Automatic weapons. The kind that don't stop. The kind that empty clips in seconds. Witnesses said it sounded like fireworks at first. Pop, 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 pop. Then they realized, this wasn't a celebration. This was an execution. The car shook. Glass exploded. Metal tore apart. Gabryel was hit. Multiple times. Devin took bullets too. And in the back, surrounded by all that noise and chaos and flying glass, sat a 14-month-old child who couldn't understand what was happening. When the shooting stopped, the men ran. They jumped into a red car and disappeared. The white sedan rolled forward and crashed into a van parked on the street. Smoke rose from the engine. Blood covered the front seats. Neighbors came running. Someone called 911. Paramedics arrived within minutes. They pulled Gabryel from the car first. She was still alive. Barely. They rushed her to Little Company of Mary Hospital. Devin was conscious, bleeding but stable. They loaded him into another ambulance. And the baby? Not a scratch. 50 bullets fired at close range. Glass and metal everywhere. And somehow that little girl didn't have a mark on her. By the time doctors worked on Gabryel at the hospital, it was already too late. Her injuries were too severe. She died that afternoon. A mother who left for what should have been an ordinary Wednesday and never came home. The police arrived at the scene. They found shell casings all over the street. Dozens of them. They counted bullet holes in the car. They talked to witnesses who saw 3 armed men running.
Relate to what this family is going through, and it's very painful, and it just reminds me of that we need to get these guns off the street.
Miracle with all the gunshot wounds on that car on both sides, and all the shooting that took place, that baby was spared and nothing. God must have a plan for that baby. But, you know, whether they knew or not knew a baby was in the back seat, they didn't care. They were just going to shoot wildly at this car and end up killing a young mother.
They pulled surveillance footage from nearby cameras that showed the whole thing. The approach, the shooting, the escape. But no arrests were made that day. or the next day, or the week after. Because finding out who pulled the trigger is one thing. Understanding why, that's something else entirely. Before we go further, do me a favor. If you're watching this and want to see more cases like this covered in depth, hit that subscribe button right now. And drop a like on this video. It helps more than you know. I also want to hear from you. After you hear this whole story, I want you to think about something. Could this have been stopped? Was there a moment where everything could have gone differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Now let's talk about what investigators found. Because this wasn't random. And that's where this case gets complicated. Let's go back to that moment. Chicago police said this wasn't random. They made that clear early on. Someone wanted Gabryel dead. Or someone in that car. The question was why. And that's where social media comes in. According to reports, and I need to stress these are unconfirmed, there may have been a post. Something that happened online. Something that led to what happened on South May Street. Here's what we know. Or what people are saying. Roughly 11 weeks before the shooting, Gabryel Gnia posted something online. Something about someone who had died. The police haven't confirmed it. But the post supposedly got attention. A lot of attention. And here's the thing about social media. It doesn't go away. You can delete a post, but screenshots exist. People remember. And in certain neighborhoods, certain words can turn into real-world consequences. Some reports claim that Devin Draper, Gabryel's boyfriend who was in the car that day, may have shared his location on social media shortly before the attack. Not intentionally. Maybe just a casual post. A story. A check-in. Something that told people exactly where he was. If that's true, it means the shooters knew where to find him. They didn't stumble onto that car by accident. They didn't drive around looking. They knew the block. They knew the car. They knew the time. This wasn't a random drive-by. This was targeted. But here's where it gets complicated. Police said they believe Gabryel was the intended target. Not Devin. Gabryel. That doesn't make sense at first. If the beef was online, if the post was about disrespect, if the location was shared by Devin, why would Gabryel be the target? Unless she wasn't. Unless the shooters got it wrong. Or unless there's something we don't know yet. Some people in the community say Gabryel had nothing to do with any of it. That she was just in the car. Wrong place, wrong time. A mother caught in someone else's war. Others say different. That there was more going on. That social media posts go both ways. That maybe someone close to Gabryel had said something too. That maybe this went deeper than one post. The truth is we don't know. The police haven't released details about motive. They haven't confirmed the social media angle publicly. They haven't named suspects. They haven't made arrests. But what we do know is this. In Chicago, social media has become a weapon. Not just words on a screen. Real violence. Real bodies. It starts with a comment. Someone disrespects someone. Someone posts a photo standing on a rival block. Someone brags about something they did. And then it escalates. More comments. More threats. More posts. And then someone decides to do something about it. Experts who study gang violence in Chicago say social media has changed everything. Before, disputes stayed local. You had beef with someone, you handled it face to face. Or you let it go. But now everything is public. Everyone sees it. Everyone knows who said what. And reputations are on the line. You can't back down online. Not in front of thousands of people. So instead of letting things cool off, social media makes them worse. It pushes people toward violence because walking away looks weak. And once someone dies, it doesn't end. It starts a cycle. Retaliation. Then retaliation for the retaliation. And it keeps going until someone ends up in a casket or a cell. That's the world Gabryel lived in. Whether she was part of it or not. Whether she posted anything or not. Just being in that car with that person on that day, that was enough. 50 bullets. Because of words on a screen. Before we move on, I need you to do something. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Cases like this need to be told, and your support makes that possible. Hit the like button too. It pushes this story to more people. And drop a comment. Do you think social media makes violence worse? Do you think people understand the real-world consequences of what they post? Let me know. I read everything. Now let's talk about the neighborhood where this happened. Because Auburn Gresham has a history. And that history matters. Auburn Gresham isn't new to this. The neighborhood has seen shootings before. Too many. More than anyone should have to count. It sits on Chicago's south side. About 9 miles from downtown. Roughly 30,000 people live there. Mostly black families. Working class families. People who've been there for generations. But it's also a place where violence has become part of the landscape, where parents tell their kids not to wear certain colors, where people avoid certain blocks after dark, where you hear gunshots and you don't always call the police because what's the point? In 2025 alone, Auburn Gresham recorded dozens of shootings. Some fatal, some not. The numbers vary depending on who's counting, but the reality doesn't change. People are dying. And most of the time no one gets caught. Gang activity plays a role. Different factions. Different blocks. Old beefs that go back years. New beefs that start online. Territory that doesn't mean much to outsiders but means everything to the people living there. And the weapons? They're getting worse. Handguns used to be the standard. Now it's automatic rifles. Extended magazines. Switches that turn semi-automatics into full auto. Guns that can fire 30 rounds in seconds. That's what killed Gabryel. Not a revolver. Not a pistol. Military-grade firepower used on a residential street in the middle of the afternoon. Experts say the problem is bigger than gangs. It's poverty. It's lack of opportunity. It's generations of disinvestment in neighborhoods like Auburn Gresham. It's schools that don't have enough resources. It's young people who don't see a future, so they live for today. And it's social media. That's the new part. The part that didn't exist 20 years ago. Now you can start a war with a phone. You can broadcast disrespect to thousands of people instantly. You can make threats. You can post locations. You can document everything. And when something happens, when someone gets shot, it gets posted too. Photos of the scene. Videos of the aftermath. Captions that taunt the victim or celebrate the shooter. It's a cycle that feeds itself. And it's happening all over Chicago. Not just Auburn Gresham. Englewood. Austin. West Side. South Side. Different neighborhoods. Same story. Gabryel Ayres became part of that story on February 4th. Whether she wanted to be or not. 2 days after Gabryel died, the community gathered. Friday evening. Near St. Sabina Church. The same church that sits blocks from where she was killed. People came out. Dozens of them. Holding candles. Holding each other. Holding on to whatever hope they had left that maybe this time things would be different. Mayor Brandon Johnson showed up. So did Father Michael Flegger, the priest who spent decades fighting violence on the South Side. Community activists, neighbors, family members, friends, people who knew Gabryel, people who never met her but felt her loss anyway. They stood in a circle, prayed, sang. Some people cried. Others stayed quiet. A few spoke about what happened, about how it shouldn't have happened, about how Gabryel was just 26, about how her daughter would grow up without a mother now. Father Flegger told the crowd that enough was enough, that they couldn't keep burying young people, that they couldn't keep acting like this was normal, that someone in the community knew who did this, and that they needed to come forward. Mayor Johnson talked about justice, about holding people accountable, about making sure Gabryel's death wasn't forgotten like so many others. But the people who knew Gabryel best, they talked about her life, not her death. They said she was good at what she did, that clients loved her, that she could braid hair, style wigs, make people feel beautiful, that she had a gift. They said she loved her daughter, that she talked about her constantly, that everything she did was for that little girl. They said she didn't deserve this, that she wasn't involved in whatever led to that shooting, that she was just there, just in the wrong car at the wrong time. One friend said Gabryel had plans, that she wanted to open her own salon someday, that she wanted to build something for herself and her daughter, that she was working toward it. Now those plans are gone. The salon won't happen. The future she imagined doesn't exist anymore. What exists is a 14-month-old girl who will never remember her mother's voice, who will grow up looking at photos and hearing stories but never actually knowing the woman who gave her life. That's what 50 bullets took away. Not just Gabryel, but everything she could have been. If this story is hitting you, subscribe. Share it. Let people know what happened to Gabryel Ayres. Hit the like button so this reaches more people. And tell me, do you think the community can stop this cycle? Do you think vigils and prayers are enough, or does something bigger need to change? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you think. There's money on the table now. $20,000. $10,000 from St. Sabina Parish. Another $10,000 from Cook County Crime Stoppers. For information that leads to an arrest. City leaders are pushing hard. They want someone to talk. Someone saw something. Someone knows something. And they're asking people to come forward. Mayor Johnson said it clearly, this has to stop. The retaliation. The revenge. The endless cycle of violence that keeps taking lives. But talking means risk. In neighborhoods like Auburn Gresham, snitching can get you killed too. So the question is, will $20,000 be enough? So where does that leave us? With questions. A lot of them. Who were the three men who ran up to that car? Do they have names? Do they have faces? Are they in someone's phone right now bragging about what they did? Was this gang-related? Or was it personal? Was Gabryel caught in a war she had nothing to do with? Or was there something deeper we don't know about? Did a social media post really set all of this in motion? Can words on a screen actually lead to 50 bullets on a Wednesday afternoon? And here's the big one. If Gabryel was the target, if police are right about that, then why? What did she do? What did she say? Or was she targeted simply because of who she was with? Could any of this have been stopped? Was there a moment, days, weeks, even months before, where someone could have stepped in and changed the outcome? And the hardest question of all, will her daughter ever get justice? Will the men who killed her mother ever face a courtroom? Or will this become another unsolved case in a city full of them? I don't have the answers. The police don't either. Not yet. But maybe you do. Maybe you've seen something like this before. Maybe you understand how these situations play out better than I do. Drop a comment. Tell me what you think happened. And subscribe if you want to follow this case as it develops. February 4th, 2026. A young mother sat in a car with her boyfriend and her baby. And in less than a minute, her life ended. Gabryel Ayres was 26 years old. She worked hard. She loved her daughter. She had dreams like everyone else. And now she's gone. Her baby survived. Somehow. Against all odds. But that little girl will grow up without her mother. She'll hear stories. She'll see pictures. But she'll never know what it felt like to be held by the woman who brought her into this world. No one has been arrested. The men who did this are still out there, living their lives, while Gabryel's family plans a funeral. This is what social media has become in some parts of Chicago. A place where words turn into bullets, where posts turn into funerals, where people die over things that shouldn't matter. And it's not just Gabryel. It's hundreds of people every year. Mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, all caught up in cycles of violence that nobody seems able to stop. The community is calling for peace, for people to put the guns down, to stop the retaliation, to remember that every person killed is somebody's child. Gabryel's memory lives on, in her daughter, in the people who loved her, in the salon she'll never open, in the future she'll never see. That's the cost. That's what 50 bullets took away. If you know anything about this case, anything at all, contact Chicago Police or Cook County Crime Stoppers. You can stay anonymous. There's a $20,000 reward. But more than that, there's a 14-month-old girl who deserves to know that someone cared enough to speak up. Justice for Gabryel means justice for her daughter. It means showing that community that their lives matter, that their voices matter, that they don't have to accept this as normal. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think happened that day? Do you think this could have been prevented? Do you think social media plays a bigger role in violence than people admit? Share your thoughts in the comments. Keep it respectful. This is a real person, a real family, real pain. If this case moved you, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel for more true crime coverage that goes deep into cases that need attention. And turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Gabryel Gnia Ayres, 26 years old, hairstylist, mother, daughter, friend. Rest in peace.